Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Plays Games. My name is Richie and joining me this week is the Helix Daddy at CyberChris2077, Mr. Chris.
Hello everyone, hope you're all well.
You know, I actually meant to drop the Helix Daddy title, but I just completely forgot to delete it from the show.
You like it too much now. You like it, yeah, I'm your Helix Daddy.
Oh, kinky.
It's that type of show.
Yeah, it's going to be that. We're recording this late on Saturday night, which is why we both have podcast juice. And you know what makes it better, Chris? This show goes out at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. No, it's not. No, Rob, it'd be great if Rob's here. But this show goes out at like 6 a.m. on Monday morning, so I know fine well there's people sat there in the car, driving to work on Monday morning, driving the office. And here's me living life back in the past with a beer, so cheers.
Beer. I mean, I say I have podcast juice. This is my one treat on a Saturday night because I've been at work all day, which I don't usually work weekends. I left the house at 7 this morning. Then I've had to get back, do a full shop because we had no food in the house, deal with a baby, and then now I'm here to record 2 podcasts. Yeah. That's how dedicated I am to you, wonderful viewers and listeners out there.
I like as well as like how we've just finished recording them talking the PS. Neither of us had a drink during that show. Then we left 5 minutes, came back, and both of us just turned up without saying to each other for beer.
It's what gets me through the Xbox news, Richie. Take that how you will. Everyone. But you know what? Talking the PS was a fantastic show. We did something a little bit different, and I'm looking forward to getting into the news with you this week. And,
talk about the news. We have a great show for you this week. We'll be talking about Quidditch champions, Xbox chief going to Netflix,
Xbox,
and the future of the Division. All that and much, much more on this week's XPass. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice with notifications turned on so you're kept in the loop of all of our great content here at Helix Plays Games, such as Talking to PS, where Chris, what did we talk about on Talking to PS? Because we did something a bit different.
Oh, we did, Richie. We thought, let's break down all of these secret PlayStation studios who they're all working on classic AAA games and we know nothing about most of them. So we went through it studio by studio, piece by piece, and broke it all down. So, ideas, theories, predictions, and it was a great episode. We got a little bit of news in there at the end, but I'm excited too. We'll have to do it one day for Xbox when they finally get all the cylinders firing on.
So if you're looking forward to the PlayStation news in tomorrow's episode, fast forward to about 55 minutes into the show.
Yeah. Or more importantly, if you're a Helix Hero, you could
just watch it
right now.
Yeah, you can just listen right now. Right now, just go do it. Like, pull over your car, have a beer, and listen to Talking the PS. Don't go to work.
That's what Rob's doing right now.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not going to work right now.
Cheers.
I don't know why I saluted. I've got a beer. Anyway, enough about beer and Talking the PS. We also have our weekly live streams where this week, Chris, you, me, and Rob, we all jumped into Minecraft Legends on Friday.
We did. From Xbox Studio, Mo Yang, Minecraft Legends, the third entry in the, official entry into the Minecraft world. We had OG Minecraft Dungeons, which was the dungeon roguelike crawler type game. Now we've got Minecraft Legends, which is I best described it as Age of Empires meets Minecraft from a third person's perspective. And I did say during the live stream, actually, there's the Telltale Minecraft Season 1 and 2, which is a very story focused, character driven game. Wonderful fun if that's even still purchasable. I don't know what's going on with Telltale right now, but back to Minecraft Legends. Yeah, we had a great time. We streamed this Friday for about 2 hours. We played the whole thing, the three of us, from right off the bat, getting used to the game, learning the tutorial, the ropes, coming together as a unit, as an army to take on the piglins in the underworld. And I had a great time. It's one of those games, after doing our first look, I've had that little itch all day today while I've been driving around in my car at work on a weekend. I've had that kind of urge to, when I get home tonight and I've had my beer, I might sit down and have a cheeky little chip away at some more blocks in Minecraft Dungeons, Minecraft Legends, in fact. How about you?
I really enjoyed playing Minecraft Legends with you and Rob. it hasn't sunk its teeth into me in a way where I'm looking forward to like playing it again on my own. Where oddly enough, like some other recent streams, like Elden Ring, I went back the next night to actually go again. Literally the next morning after the stream because I wasn't satisfied with where I left the stream off. That sunk its teeth into me. And that when me and Rob played Valheim, I played a bit more of that. I like Minecraft Legends. I don't think I love it, but I've never been into Minecraft myself. It's a good game that is not for me, but playing with you and Rob, I'd be happy to do another stream. No bother at all.
Yeah, I think I approach it from a slightly different tack because I have a lot of love for Minecraft. I've sunk many hours into building things in the original game. As I said, I've got the platinum trophy, I think, in both Telltale Minecraft games. So I'm a bit more entwined in that world, and I'm also a massive Age of Empires fan, so it kind of ticks a few more boxes for me than I think it did for you and Rob necessarily. So I definitely recommend, if you're a Minecraft fan and an old school fan of the good old RTS games, Battle for Middle-earth, Command and Conquer, that style, you'll probably really attach yourself to this. And again, it's very family friendly, so if you've got little ones out there, it's on Game Pass, so it's included. Go fill your boots, or more importantly, go check out our first look because it's available on the channel now.
Yeah, do both simultaneously. Put us up and play the game at the same time. See if you can do better than us. But other than that, Chris, been playing anything interesting?
I spoke about it on Talking the PS. A little bit of Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which I'll talk about tomorrow more on that show. But in terms of Xbox, it's pretty much been FIFA. In between looking after baby, it's 20-minute matches here and there into the early hours or at night. But other than that, no. As I mentioned last week's show, I did install Rise Son of Rome, but I want to keep a pin in that for a live stream on the channel when its anniversary rolls around. So no, but I guess Minecraft Legends as well. So I have been playing some things on Xbox.
Yeah, for me, it's just been obviously Minecraft Legends on the stream. FIFA's just one of them I just chip away at literally all year round, and so I'll probably buy the next FIFA and continue pretty much for indefinitely. Every year I'll probably buy the new, because I put enough hours into FIFA every year to make it worthwhile buying the new one. Like, I'm probably over 100 hours into FIFA.
You won't be buying FIFA this year, though?
No, I won't. It'll be esports, football, FAC,
WXYZ.
Kick.
Kickball, man.
The game of kickball. That's actually a different sport.
That is a different sport, yeah. That's FIFA's new entry, Kickball 2023.
Yeah, not Kickball aside, it's just been Octopath, which it's a big game. It doesn't look like it should be a big game, but it is a big game.
I thought it come on a tiny little cartridge.
It does. It's a tiny little Nintendo Switch cartridge. But you know, when you see the art style, the kind of 2D 3D art style of it, you kind of just assume that it would be a smaller title, but it's not as massive. It's a huge game.
Good old JRPGs.
Yep. You just it's one of them. When you save the game, go, oh shit! That's how much I was off of this.
See the save file size.
Yeah.
There goes my life.
Yep, indeed.
Every one of our viewers and listeners can appreciate that. We've all been there, right?
Yeah, we've all played games where when you've saved your game, that how long you've been playing has actually caught you by surprise. But it's a game that I have just because there are smaller kind of vignettes. It's almost like 8 short stories in a single game, plus a massive map to explore, plus side quests and stuff. You kind of just can't get lost in it. So it's one of them games that's easy to pick up for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And when you do that for weeks every day for weeks on end, suddenly the hours add up. Mm-hmm. But enough about that. Chris, would you like to introduce us to the
excellently exuberant, excavated Xbox expose, aka the news.
The news, and as always, our news is brought to you by our Helix Heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p over on our YouTube channel. It gives you early access to shows such as Talking the PS. Occasionally we'll throw over early access stuff, such as when I fought Magritte the Fellowman. That went up a week early for our members. It does eventually go to non-members as well, because we don't like pay-gate content. And you get custom emojis, stickers, badges, and Rob's love when he can be bothered to not be working and come podcast with his friends.
Wow, that's throwing the gauntlet down right there. Yeah, shout out to the Helix Heroes.
Yeah, shout out to the Helix Heroes. You guys are awesome. First news, topic of the week. Halo's longtime franchise director has left Microsoft to join Netflix.
Netflix. The audacity. They're making some moves, Richie.
They are. That's kind of my fault with this. So we're talking about Joseph Staten. He recently announced that he was Staten, whatever. I don't know. I think it's Staten.
Staten. It is Staten, yeah.
Yeah, he's leaving Microsoft and he's announced that he'll be joining Netflix.
Wow. To direct some TV shows, or?
No, I think he's going to be directing AAA games from Netflix. So Netflix have been dipping the toe in games, but it tends to almost be like kind of these weird kind of tie-in stuff to their franchises and stuff, and like kind of these more mobile, portable titles. Not actually cloud gaming. That was the confusion we had before.
Yeah, you could download mobile games from the gaming tab within the Netflix app on your phone only, not your TV.
Yeah.
And then they've dabbled in gaming TV shows like Bandersnatch and stuff, which was like multiple choice, almost like Telltale-esque. But then they have given a directive that they are going to enter the void of cloud gaming. And we saw over our years covering Google Stadia that would they become a serious competitor? And snapping up Halo chief Joseph Staten, he's left Microsoft after nearly a decade, and he's helmed games like the fantastic Halo 2. He's worked as a developer on Destiny as well. So this guy comes with some credentials, and to leave Microsoft and 343 to go to Netflix, it gives me big vibes, for better or for worse, of Google acquiring big names like Jade Raymond and Shannon Studstill and starting to acquire studios. Because remember, they picked up, is it Night? What they're called off the top of my head. Night Studio, Night Owl Studio, Night House Studio. They've just announced Oxenfree 2. It's not coming to my Xbox, ironically enough, but it is coming to Netflix. Night Haven, Night Owl, Night House. The chat will know. But either way, he's gone to work over at Netflix, and it's a big move for him, and I'm guessing there's also a big check or a big monetary contract gain in there to go and head up essentially AAA games on behalf of Xbox Game Studios. Game Studios, Netflix Game Studios, in fact, Chris.
Well,
it's crazy. Like, what does this mean?
Well, I mean, video games in terms of entertainment media is the growth. It's not just the biggest growing, kind of vertical compared to like TV and like movies and stuff like that. Gaming is the one that's growing the fastest, and it is also the largest. So it makes sense that Netflix would want to get involved in that. So getting like veterans of big AAA gaming publishers involved to almost. I'm assuming his portfolio is not going to be little like indie games that focus on things like Stranger Things to kind of pour out there as a kind of tie into your Netflix subscription, but to almost set up a Netflix-owned third-party AAA game studio.
Yeah,
that seems like a good potential opportunity to just build your own studio from the ground up with the financial weight of Netflix behind you.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Night School Studios, by the way, was the one I was thinking of. They were bought by Netflix a while ago. It was one of the first forays into buying like proper game development studios, which is, again, leads us to that conversation of like Oxenfree 2 coming to PlayStation, Switch, PC, mobile, and Netflix, but no Xbox. So I don't know what's going on there, but there's something weird. But I digress. To the point, Netflix, we know they stream. It's what they do. They have millions and millions of customers, and they make money, albeit not as much money as they probably want. They usually report losses, and projects get cancelled and shuttered. And one of the things I've always discussed on a few of our shows in the past is that Netflix really don't have anything to fall back on. Amazon have the logistics service and their whole AWS network and Twitch and such.
And
Disney
they no longer have
the entire
a monopoly.
Disney thing.
Especially since Disney Plus moved into the space, they no longer really have a monopoly. Their market share has shrunk.
Undeniably.
Yeah.
And then there's everyone else who's trying to get into this game. And almost them diverging into video games is smart business, a lot of people would argue. It's taking I guess in a way what Google Stadia didn't have. Google had the tech, but they didn't really have the user base of people who consume content on Google. Like, they've tried music, they've tried podcasts, they've tried a multitude of things, and they couldn't make it work with YouTube. And yet, I feel like Netflix, because they already have that position in a lot of people's homes, they already have people logging into the app on a daily basis to watch content. Having games just slot in there that ties in, as you said, to Stranger Things or many of their other wonderful shows, it seems like a good move. And doing it all in-house is usually pure profit. That's why PlayStation and Xbox do it, because you don't have to pay the middleman. And it's going to take some time, and I'd be very interested to see if they can see this out long game. And especially if it's cloud gaming. It seems like they're committed, but it seemed like it was that way for Google in 2019 as well, and look where we are now.
Yeah, but Google, let's be fair, have more reputation for cancelling stuff. Netflix, although they are actually...
Netflix cancel
they are finally cancelling. They are finally cancelling their mail DVD service. That's finally going away. Apparently,
they also
still
cancel a lot of shows.
They
after
do
1 or 2 seasons, so they're not afraid to cut costs when they're not making money.
I think they're getting a reputation, though. They need to be careful with that cutting shows. I think they're starting to get a reputation for when it shows, although are well received critically, they don't quite do the numbers. Then they just can it and move on. And rather than committing to another series and giving it a room for the show to grow and get that audience coming back, and then when you start hearing about there's a new series and that, I was like, I heard about the first season of that. How was it? It's actually really good. I didn't watch it. Go back and watch it. But now that can follow them into gaming. If will they take the same view on gaming if a game doesn't quite live up to their expectations? But how are they setting their expectations as well? That's the thing. So it makes sense as well for them to move into gaming from a business point of view, because there's only so many people in the world who haven't subscriptions and watching TV. They've got a market share, but it's almost effectively capped how many people are watching TV through subscription services. We've already probably hit that critical mass where you're not realistically getting that many more people in there. What you're doing then is you're just moving people from one subscription service to another. You're just moving things around. So if you want to continue growing as a business, either you have to get people to cancel Disney Plus to come over to Netflix, or you find other ways to invest in. This is why Google keeps trying to invest in absolutely everything, because they want to keep diversifying the portfolio and find the next big thing. But yeah,
it's making, or they are making a lot of the right moves, and again pilfering heads at Xbox. Poor 343 again though, with all the shit Halo Infinite got for then a lot of their leadership to leave. And the redundancies and the cuts that were made at Microsoft as a whole. It makes you wonder, but they did thank Frank for his numerous contributions to the Halo franchise, and they're wishing him well going forward. Over 2 decades contributing to the world of Master Chief and Halo.
Started with Halo 2.
And now he's going to jump into Netflix. Do you think Netflix would ever really be a Game Pass competitor? Or do we think that this is again kind of Google Stadia and Amazon Luna going up against the mighty powerhouse that is the established Xbox ecosystem?
Maybe in the very long term, but what I think is more likely to happen is, because this would effectively be the first AAA studio that would be getting set up, then assuming that's not just going to be a Netflix exclusive, and they push that to other platforms, which I think is when you're first getting going, is the shrewder move. That's what kind of Amazon are doing, but with the weird caveat that they're not putting their first-party titles on Luna. So that can help you grow these studios and help cover the costs while your platform itself is gaining that player base. But that's a very long burn. And
it's going to have to be, and it's all the same conversations we had with Google Stadia, I guess, in a way that Netflix have money, not as much money as Google, but they're going to have to put the money where their mouth is, because game development, whatever he's working on, is not going to be seeing the light of day for several years, you would imagine, if it is truly AAA, which in turn means they have to work on everything in between to kind of set Netflix up for success. But at the same time, how much of a sunken cost are Netflix and their shareholders willing to commit when they hemorrhage money every year on shows that are cancelled and investment in new IP? And it's a dangerous, risky world, the games industry to be in. We've seen bigger companies come in and fail, even with all the same commitments and acquisitions and leadership purchases. And
especially when a lot of the shareholders are probably not overly familiar with the gaming industry. It's like, okay, how much have you sunk into this project? And how much have we got back on it? Nothing. It's like, oh, are we expecting this game that you're working on to bring this sort of money in? No.
Yeah, because if you
your
think
first
about,
game,
like,
you're not going to be in profit off your first game, realistically, unless it's an absolute smash hit, which realistically it's probably not going to be.
And then this goes back to the cat and the horse scenario we talked about with Google, that they should have acquired studios, they should have been building up their portfolio, doing third-party deals for a long, long time, purchasing Ubisoft, we've thrown about numerous times too. And then Netflix is doomed to repeat the same thing where, as you said there, they're going to sink, what, a AAA games, you're talking $200 to $300 million. That could pay for several
an established
shows.
Studio.
Yeah.
For an unestablished studio, you can assume that the costs are going to be higher.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it on a budget. Control was made for less than $100 million, if I recall. So it's not saying that you can't, but for an inexperienced team, you're right. That $300 million could be spent on making several seasons of some new shows, which Netflix shareholders are going to say that money could be better spent doing our bread and butter material, which is the shows, which is Netflix.
Shorter turnaround time.
Yeah, and they pull in new audiences. Yeah. Whereas the risk is, here's our new game. It took 4 years to make. Did we see a boost in subscribers? Not really. What do we do from here then?
We spent $400 million on a game. It took 4 years to make. We've made profits of $100 million on that game.
And we've gamed 10 subscribers.
Yeah, in fact, you're probably, again, I think in your first game, you're probably going to the assumption should be that you make a loss overall. But you've established the studio, you've established the brand, you've established whatever IP you're doing, and if it does well, then you've got something to build on. So then in the second or third games, that's when the studio starts turning a profit. Yeah, it's gaming, because it's with such long cycles to develop your product and get it out there. And the assumption you should always have is your first game is not going to be like how excited we are for like Jedi Survivor. You're not going to have that as your first game. Everyone's going to be looking at it and go, okay, what's this?
You're not.
Everyone's going to be holding off for reviewers to get their hands on it of your first game because it's an unknown quantity. Games are expensive.
Yeah. You pointed out a good thing there, which throws us back to a great episode of Side Quest we did, talking about that. I think Netflix would really benefit from having that synergy they've seen with the Witcher sales and CD Projekt Red's boon in Witcher 3 sales of like jumped 300% every time a new season starts. That makes sense, but that's a known quantity. I would love Netflix to be able, in several years' time, to get a Stranger Things game out or a Wednesday game or whatever it may be, but it's time and dedication that they don't have the studios, and it goes back to making me think, if they really want to commit to this, like we said Google should have done, they should go out and acquire Ubisoft. Multiple studios, multiple IP, and then every Assassin's Creed game has a tie-in Netflix Assassin's Creed series, and that's the type of synergy they want. But I don't think you're going to get it by just hiring one or two people and starting from scratch. You need to acquire a known quantity of games that can have some output. Yeah, absolutely.
Joseph Staten could be your head of gaming, and then you buy Ubisoft. Or something like Ubisoft's actually a really good one because they are probably gettable. I don't know if
Stranger Things content exists.
They've got established IP, which this could translate over to Netflix as a series. I don't know if Netflix have the money to buy that, but because it is an established studio, it'd be easier to get it through the shareholders because you're going, look, this is how much money this Ubisoft makes every year.
And they get assets as well.
We're buying the assets, we're buying the people, we're still all the publishing channels, we're still going to publish this everywhere, but we're getting the IP, which then we're going to turn into these shows. So the studio is the purchase would effectively pay for itself with every up-and-coming Division game, every Assassin's Creed game, every Far Cry game. That's going to slowly pay off the purchase.
Yeah.
But then you're going to go, we're going to make an Assassin's Creed TV series. It's going to be 10-hour-long episodes. It's going to focus on Altair
I feel like that has been confirmed, actually, in Netflix Assassin's Creed.
It might be, yeah.
I feel like that is a thing. But then you're completely right. That known quantity brings IP for your existing business, which is TV shows. You get a Rabbids cartoon animated series. You get a Rayman animated series. You get a Splinter Cell live-action series with all the Tom Clancy stuff. The Division
you can even have crossover with Rabbids and Mario.
Yeah, there's so much that they could do. And the side quest episode I was alluding to was, you mentioned Jedi Survivor, and it made me think, imagine if Disney Plus leaned into gaming as well, which we theorized on a very specific episode of Side Quest or Cloud Quest back in the day. I think it was like, could Google Stadia's tech power Disney Plus to new heights? And that, you're scrolling past the Star Wars movies, and there is the column that says, the Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Battlefront 2, streamable from your Disney Plus app. That's like that perfect synergy, and Disney don't obviously have to do it in-house, but it's the same theory we're getting at, where there's your Assassin's Creed series, next to your Assassin's Creed game, click a link, boom, it's powered up, and it works. And it is such a shame, Richie.
I mean, go everyone, after you finish watching this and having your beer and watching XPass in the lay-by somewhere on your way to work, go watch that episode of Side Quest, because it's a really good episode, and it's a shame that Google have basically thrown in the towel with their game streaming tech. So that idea we had of, this was around immersive stream for games, so that was the kind of principle of it. Like, Disney could use immersive stream for games, tie it into Disney Plus. They have all this IP, and in fact, they've already got games as well. Talk about games. Jedi Survivor, Chris.
Yeah.
So Jedi Survivor appears to have a ridiculously large download size on Xbox Series X. About 140 gigabytes on Series X and 44 on Series S.
Damn, that is something to shake a cloud gaming server at that size.
My thought on this, though, is the difference between the consoles is like, how much better is the game going to be on Series X? If it's like 100 gigabytes more space required, that's a lot of assets. It's more than 3 times. It's about 3 times the size.
It's not being a developer that I don't know where that extra thing is. It like, where does it come into? You would imagine, because of things like maybe the DualSense, you would have more on the PlayStation side, or is just the Xbox harder to define things for?
I don't know.
That's a lot, isn't it? That's like several games unto itself. Extra.
On the PlayStation 5 is 147 gigabytes, so it's slightly bigger than the Series X.
Okay.
So that's kind of in line with what you're saying, but only 44 on the Series S? It's like, because we heard rumours before, like developers basically were complaining about the Series S almost holding this generation back. Is this an example of it? That's 100 gigabytes of cut content in one way, shape, or another. That is stuff, 100 gigabytes of stuff that is not there on the Series S, that is on the Series X and on the PlayStation 5.
So this is that weird middle ground, isn't it? That the Jedi Survivor does not exist on the PS4. No. It's not a thing. So it's skipped an entire generation. And I'm sure the reason it looks so gorgeous and all the gameplay we've seen is because it's utilising the power of next-gen tech. And to think that there's they've moved the sliders very much all the way down to the bottom just to ship this thing on the Series S it's a reality that probably people at Microsoft don't want to exist. They've put out a inferior device to clearly go for the market on price. And it's worked for them. Like, so many people have Series S's, and it's a wonderful piece of kit. But let's face it, it's inferior technology to not only its own competitor, the Series X, but of course the PS5. And as we all know with all technology, as time goes by, the one who's lagging behind, just like a buffalo at the back of the herd, Richie, the old and weak and less strong one, it's the first to be picked off. And it's at some point, it will, by nature of the technology, be held back enough where games will not be able to be pushed to the same quality. And I think as the new 2 premium consoles push to new heights and run on new engines and the developers get used to using it, it's going to happen. And this might be the first case in point example. There's such a vast difference in file size. There's a lot missing from that Series S version. Don't know what it'd be. Don't know how much it'll impact it. Like, file sizes are crazy. The fact that you can put things in a zip file and it compresses it down still baffles me to this day. Just squash it down into this digital place, and it transfers on a digital existence to a different digital plane, but it's the same content, it's just been squashed down more. Means no, it goes over my head, that.
Well, the weird thing for me is I always just assumed from someone who's got a background in PC gaming, regardless of what graphics card you got your PC, the game's going to be the same size. What there is sliders in the games and your settings, which you can... In PC, you got a lot more customization. We can slide them. In modern consoles, you tend to get the toggle between performance and visual fidelity modes. Mm-hmm. So I just assumed... And with Xbox, you've got Smart Delivery, which I just assumed was... You put the game in, it goes, oh, you're playing this game on a Series S. Let's set all the sliders to the optimum performance for Series S. So which I just assumed the game would just then, therefore, just be the same size.
But that's not how it works.
Apparently not. But yeah, it's just a weird one. I mean, despite this being, we're talking about this on XPass, this is why I'm glad I also have a PS5. To be honest, I think if I didn't have a PS5, I wouldn't have got the Series S. I would have got the Series X.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason I got the Series S is because it was a cheaper console, and it was always meant to be. This is going to be my Microsoft exclusive stuff.
Exactly the same.
And for Game Pass, this is my Game Pass box. Any game where I'm looking at and going, I want the absolute best performance, I'm getting my PS5.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you on that one.
Yeah.
And as we go into next week, by the way, this time next week when we record the next episode of this show, we'll be playing Jedi Survivor. Are you excited? What's your hype levels?
Well, I am hyped for this game. But I haven't pre-ordered it because I'm not going to buy it till Octopath. I finished Octopath. Simple reason is I am also trying to pay for what turned out to be quite an expensive holiday later in like literally a few months' time. So I might have to wait till after my holiday for this.
Oh, next week's going to pain you then.
Yeah, because it's all them
rub it in your face that I've played 20 minutes in between parenthood. We're like, oh, Richie, it's actually probably worse for me that I'll own the game and I'm not going to get the time I want to play it. But I digress.
But yeah, it's all them little things. Like I'm going on holiday in I think end of June. It kind of came out very, very quickly. Very, very quickly, which meant I didn't have a lot of money saved up to kind of sort it. So I'm kind of skint right now. And I haven't even got there yet, so there's these expenses and sort of stuff I want to save on buying clothes for like go on holiday, all that kind of crap, which is kind of just going to get in the way of my video game purchasing for a little bit. But I have Game Pass and I have PlayStation Plus, so I've got.
You're not going to be short of games.
No. It just means that I'm not going to be playing Jedi Survivor day one. I'm not going to be playing Tears of the Kingdom day one.
Really? Even for Zelda? I feel like the temptation's going to get you.
I don't think so, because I think Zelda hasn't answered any of my criticisms of the last game. I think it looks like an amazing game, but I'm still not in love with the whole overly sandbox elements of it.
There it is, folks. Well, I'm hyped for Jedi Survivor. It was always going to be my Game of the Year candidate. I thoroughly enjoyed Hogwarts Legacy, but this is my... Star Wars is my IP, Star Wars is my franchise. I play Star Wars games every May 4th. Like that's how much I'm a big fan of this. The Mandalorian, thoroughly enjoyed it. Andor... and I love all the video games. Battlefront 2, one of my favourite games as well. So yeah, can't wait. Even if the file size is going to kill me, I'm going to have to start downloading it like 7 days in advance. Although preloads don't start till 2 days in advance, so I can't do that. Why isn't this in the cloud, Richie? I was playing Jedi Fallen Order in the cloud every year. I got like a third through the game on our streams. Yeah. And now I have to install 147 gigs with my shitty internet. Damn you.
You also tend to work from home a lot. So it's like I work in the office. I drive into work every day. I could just on my phone. Literally, I do this all the time with games. I'll be at work and go, "Oh, we're streaming Minecraft Legends." Pull out my phone on my lunch break and then just set Minecraft Legends downloading from my phone. Xbox downloads it. Come home, it's there.
But I could just open Stadia up on my phone, Richie, and play Jedi Fallen Order in a second. And the sequel never made it. What you doing, Amazon Luna?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Come on. Let's get some new games out there. And again, Xbox, let me buy the games. on Xbox outright and play them in the cloud. That's another thing they rumoured last year, was the Xbox were working to not just use Game Pass games in the cloud, but purchase titles available in the cloud. Because that's when they're starting to get on that level playing field of what we've experienced in the past with Google Stadia. Of like, yeah, if you want to buy a game a la carte, buy it on the Xbox store, play it in the cloud, play it on your PC, play it on your Xbox, anywhere you want in this ecosystem. That's when they've cracked the nut for me, and I can buy FIFA on Xbox and play it anywhere I want. Because at the moment, I have to play it on the console.
Indeed.
And download so many gigs, Richie. So many gigs. Minecraft Legends we played the other day. I had a problem. The cloud game version wouldn't boot up. I texted you ahead of us going live on the live stream saying, is it not working for you? I couldn't get into the servers. I installed it. Whole game, 10 gig. 10 gig, Richie. This game, Jedi Survivor, is nearly 15 versions of Minecraft Legends. 15 versions of that game could be fitted within the download size of this one game.
It's huge, yeah. I think there's something to be said for maybe getting like almost like hybrid tech somehow, like having some of the game installed and some of the game through the cloud. Mm-hmm. And finding ways for like cloud and like local playing to kind of work in synergy. Because the thing is, one of my criticisms over this generation of console is, as soon as I saw like the hard drive, the SSD sizes, went, that's not going to be enough. When games are expected to get bigger and bigger, like
if you play this in Call of Duty Warzone,
that's it.
You're pretty much done.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what isn't done, Chris? The Division.
It's not.
The Division Heartlands has recently got an extended gameplay showcase featuring survival features and much, much more. Chris, did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. I caught up on some kind of recap videos. And the Division's one of those games that's got a soft spot in my heart. I got the Platinum Trophy on the Division 1. I think Division 2 was too difficult for me in the dead zone. I couldn't... The damn PvP. I hate other people online. I'm just not good enough. And although I did put many, many hours into it, we've done a couple of streams on the channel, actually. The Division is my perfect... It's almost like my equivalent to Destiny, where I've never really got into Destiny for the grind element, but there was something about the Division.
As well.
It's probably just the third person, yeah. It's why I enjoyed Outriders quite a lot. It does it for me, in the fact that they announced Division Heartlands, it's the same world as the Division. It just takes place in a rural America, in a small town. I think it's called like Silver Creek or River Creek or something. But it's the same premise, just within a different location set in the same world, and I believe it's supposed to be free to play. There's a closed beta coming later this year, but they've been quite radio silent on it, as Ubisoft have been with a lot of their content. And at the Ubisoft Forward, that's part of Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, I'm hoping they're genuinely going to come out with maybe like a stealth drop release, because I believe it was supposed to come out last year, and it got delayed and pushed back, and a couple of other projects got cancelled. And we're getting to a point now where we're hearing about XDefiant news, we're hearing about Division Heartlands news. They also announced as part of the showcase the Year 5 content for Division 2. So this is a game that they called Wraps on, and then it was so popular, they actually came back and said, actually, you know what? We're going to give you a 5th year of the Division 2. And then COVID happened, pandemic, it delayed everything, and it's almost took the wind out of its sails a little bit, because Ubisoft seem to be struggling on all fronts right now. But it was announced, they showed you the content drop, they showed us a roadmap, and the Division 2 is probably going to see quite a good resurgence. And for Ubisoft, that they kind of need this win. They've gone back to the well with an existing franchise, and I'd hope to see a Division 3 announced at some point in the next year.
I think the world's ready for Division 3, but I think they need to get Heartlands out first. I mean, so reading from
a free supplement to the main one.
Yeah, reading from GameSpot, the video offers a first look at Heartland's survival gameplay, which deviates from what players might be used to in The Division and its sequel. In Heartlands, players will need to protect the town of Silver Creek while navigating streets packed with enemies and enduring the deadly day-night cycle. The Division Heartlands also features a class system including a weapons expert, medic and survivalist, each with unique abilities. Ubisoft notes that players will be at an advantage when working together and communicating effectively. Another mechanic shown off is its dehydration feature, which is frequently present in survival games. So it looks like they're taking the kind of baseline of the Division, but then adding a lot of like features that you typically appear in like survival games, things like a Valheim.
I'm immediately picturing the Division meets like State of Decay. Almost, where we need to do those survival elements. I hope they don't go too hard on it, because I sometimes think the survival elements can get in the way of the fun that makes up a normal video game. You're almost like trying too hard to survive, and you're not enjoying the game. You're just looking for resources and not dying. I
think that's, if you're into hardcore survival games, you are, but they're not for everyone. But what are your thoughts about them like experimenting with the formula? Because this also looks a bit more class-based than the Division.
I mean, the Division, traditionally, you do have your different classes that you buy into with like whatever weapon type you opt for and your own kit build, essentially. Yeah. It makes sense if it's a free-to-play. It's kind of similar to what we see in these hero shooters where you have your different classes and people always have a preferred way of playing. They want to mix it up a little bit, obviously, but I don't think they're going to stray too far from the given formula that is the Division. But I just want to really see more of it. I have opted in for some of these open betas. I got into one or two, but I was at work, actually. And
I always sign up for things and then realise when sometimes you get an email and go, oh, do you want to join in? It's like, you look at the times and go, oh, no, I don't have time.
I need you for a full day on this random Thursday.
Or even sometimes,
dude, I'm at work.
Even if it's a jump in, jump out situation, you need to be available between like 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Tuesday. It's like, thank you, time zones.
Yeah, just ain't gonna work.
Or sometimes I just can't be bothered.
I'm excited to see it. It's odd that they give it its own showcase that wasn't part of a Ubisoft Forward, but I get it. I guess it's a way of getting out there with some news that isn't gonna be embarrassing like Skull Board style, where they announce that the showcase features off. Everyone makes a big song and dance about it because it's at a big showcase, and then it gets delayed or something changes or the beta doesn't go down as well, because we've seen it backfire with Skull and Bones like 3 times now. So maybe Ubisoft have learned a lesson and thought, we'll put the Division news out on its own little small showcase, and the people who are Division fans will tune in. The wider press clearly barely batted an eyelid at it, because I didn't see that much coverage of this.
No, there's no release date either.
I reckon they'll save it for the Forward in June.
Yeah, so you think it's after June. So which then makes me wonder, why reveal information about it now if you're saving like information, like a release date for June? It almost feels like you could do this at the same time. Because I know we see like release date announcements as this huge thing, but let's be fair, what it actually is usually 2 seconds of a black screen with one bit of text on it. It's not exactly a complicated thing. So it almost feels like they could have just waited.
I could see at the Forward, the reason they want the information out there is because they don't want to spend as much time on it, or more importantly, get in the way of a Division 3 announcement. So I could see at the Forward, Division 3 showing off, coming soon, and by the way, Heartland is out now.
That would be a very Ubisoft move. Go, hey guys, Division Heartland, here's your release date. Oh, and here's Division 3, so now you don't care about Heartlands.
I think it could work to their advantage. If like all the information of what Heartland is now out, it's out there in the wild. Let's hype you up for Division 3, which, let's face it, is one of Ubisoft's strongest franchises at this moment in time. Like, that's the worry, that it came out 5 years ago and it's still probably one of their strongest franchises.
Yeah.
And then, yes, Heartland we've talked about, maybe people won't care about as much. It's supposed to be free to play. It's available now. Go fill your boots, get your fix, and get hyped for the Division 3, which will be out next year. Or we'll have more details on next year.
I suppose it's an expectation thing, because Division 2 was meant to be sunset by now, but because it was doing so well, they decided to do another season, which is why there's actually been such a gap, because they weren't originally planning to do one.
No.
So this Heartland was probably what they were viewing as something to bridge the gap in time, potentially between 2 and 3.
Yeah. The Division should have been Ubisoft's Destiny. And unfortunately, they didn't have the foresight to commit to it. Like, wouldn't you come out and go, we've got a 10-year plan for Destiny? And then, we would be halfway through the Division's plan if Ubisoft didn't constantly put things out. This shouldn't have been a numbered sequel. It should have just been the Division universe. What I
would do, I mean, I talk about something similar on Talking the PS tomorrow, but what I would do is I would try and aim to bring out a new Division within the first maybe 2 years of any console generation, and then you maintain it for the entire length of the console generation. So then when the next console comes, people are ready to go, you know what, I'm ready for Division 3 now, I'm ready for Division 4. I've played this game a lot. They've made the money through the season pass and stuff. There's still some stragglers probably still playing it late in the console lifespan. And then you get everyone to buy into the next thing on a new engine, you've upped the graphics and everything. You've updated the gameplay, new story, fresh game, just a complete refresh.
Yeah,
and then you start the cycle again. And that's how I would run games as a service. Like that.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but you target the start of the console generation because then you can support for the entire thing, and then you have the time to work on the next title because you've literally got an entire length of a console generation to do it.
Yeah, and you get in the doors with the early adopters as well. But I, for one, Richie, can't wait for Tom Clancy's multiplication to come out.
Yeah, but you know what isn't a Tom Clancy game, Chris, anymore? XDefiant. So XDefiant, do you think it could actually be good? Because there's currently in the beta is over 1 million players.
Is there though?
Well, that was more pessimistic than me.
Just a little bit. I don't know. I'm totally not sold on XDefiant. It's like Rainbow Six Siege, but without the fun elements. Yeah.
Well, I've heard.
I just think it's a bit lost, and much like my instincts on Skull and Bones, I'm hoping, and my instincts on Gotham Knights and my instincts on Suicide Squad are failing me. This game is one of those that it's free to play, but is it really any different to Extraction that we played and had its moment in the sun for all of 3 days in January, and then fell off the face of the earth?
It has been getting a bit of positive buzz from the people who've played it, apart from server issues. But it's a beta, and the fact that there's been over 1 million people sign up is probably more than they were expecting. So that could just be a case of they hadn't turned on enough servers.
Remember Hyperscape?
Yeah. Well, no, actually I don't, because I never played it.
I did a little bit, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, I would never not want a game to do well. I love Ubisoft games, more so for the third-person action adventures than the shooters. But we have a great laugh in Rainbow Six Siege. I love the Far Cry game, so they know what they're doing with shooters to a degree. I just think XDefiant it's falling in that middle of the road. Ubisoft don't really know what it is or what its identity is, and the fact that putting out free to play means they're relying on cosmetics and season passes. And I just don't think it's showing enough for anyone to merit paying a monthly fee or a bi-monthly fee for this. But
if it's a multiplayer game, is that just not the only way you can realistically monetize stuff now? You can't. Otherwise, you have to go. It's going to be a $60, $70 title. Then you bump ahead straight away with Call of Duty. It's like, why would you buy this over Call of Duty? Where if it's free to play with a season pass, one, they have the potential to earn more money out of you. Hopefully not in a predatory way, because I don't think season passes necessarily are, as long as they're done well and it's clear what you're getting for your money.
Yeah.
But it also means that people are more likely to jump in, because I can tell you now, like, if XDefiant was a paid-to-buy title, we probably won't play it. No. Unless we happen to have Ubisoft Plus for something else. However, it's a free-to-play game. I could see us jumping into a stream to see what it's about.
Undoubtedly. And a lot of the early impressions are pros, fast Call of Duty-style gameplay, 14 6v6 maps with good design, vibrant fun graphics, many guns viable, red dots on the map.
It's a weird one. But
that's a weird one to throw in there. Amazing TTK. I don't know what TTK is.
I'm not down with my first-person shooter lingo anymore. Let us know in the comments.
But a lot of that just basically makes me think, I'll go play Rainbow Six Siege then.
Yeah, I mean, well, it will play very differently to Siege. Because Siege does not play like Call of Duty. I mean, if it plays like Siege, you might as well not bother with it. But
old Call of Duty.
I don't know.
I'm just being cynical. That's my problem.
I'm with you actually in my cynicism, but it's more I want it to be good, because I think we need something to compete with Call of Duty. Call of Duty has too much of a monopoly in the first-person shooter multiplayer space. Having other titles come up and be able to compete, probably not to the same level, but actually carve out a part of that for themselves, I think is only going to be good for games as a whole. And to be fair, Ubisoft need to win. I don't want to be cynical about Ubisoft all the time.
No, I don't. Again, I've probably got more platinums for Ubisoft games than any other publisher developer going. So I'm definitely in the camp of preference. I think I've platinumed the last 5, 6 Far Cry games. So I love Ubisoft shooters. Just not in this kind of scope, but I'm ready to be proven wrong. XDefiant, formerly known as Tom Clancy's XDefiant, prove me wrong.
Me too. I want this to be a good game. But you know what? I also want to be a good game, Chris. Quidditch Champions. Snake free. Worm game. Yeah, Worm game was a good game. We played
Worm game is a good game. I miss Worm game.
We streamed Worm game. The only Stadia exclusive first party title ever. There you go. But Quidditch Champions, Chris.
Oh.
What are your thoughts?
I don't like the look of it, either just off the back of the Tom Clancy stuff. So, Quidditch Champions is the recently announced Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, to give it its proper title. Is Warner Brothers' surprisingly announced new Harry Potter game for PC and consoles. There's signs up for a beta test now. It's going to be a standalone experience featuring competitive in a multiplayer setting, allowing you to play solo or team up with friends or random players online. It's basically a Quidditch standalone game. However, it's been in development apparently for multiple years at a studio called Unbroken Studios. They've been assisting Rocksteady on Suicide Squad Killer Justice League, if that wants to paint a set for you. And I guess this again, the cynical part of me thinks like this should have been part of Hogwarts Legacy. It's also being worked on by Portkey Games, who made Hogwarts Legacy, so there's going to be some kind of probably work.
Portkey Games are kind of the rights holders for the Harry Potter games stuff, so they basically serve as a publisher under Warner Brothers, so they're not the developers. Yeah,
they did make Hogwarts Legacy though, right?
They published it.
Who made it then?
Don't know. They might have developed it, but
I could have sworn it was Pork, because it was like the first one, which was why I was surprisingly shocked.
They might have done that. They might have developed it, but I always thought of Portkey as just a publisher, but I might be wrong.
Oh no, Avalanche Software. You're right. Yeah, Avalanche Software. I don't really remember seeing the logo for Avalanche anywhere on Hogwarts Legacy.
See, I disagree with the view that Quidditch should have been Hogwarts Legacy, because I don't know how you work that in a way that's satisfying, because the broom mechanics in Hogwarts Legacy really fun, a nice way to traverse. But in quite a tight-knit, close environment that is a Quidditch pitch, I think it'd be a bit unwieldy, because the broom was pretty much designed for straight-line speed across the environment. So I just don't think it would control that well. So I think it's a different... The feel of how the brooms would work would have to be very different in this. And it's also adding stuff into a game that isn't going to add to the narrative of the game.
The question I've got to really ask is Quidditch actually a fun sport? Like, it's great in the fictional world of Harry Potter, but... I don't know why Harry Potter came out so posh there. But, realistically... If you play like 6v6 or whatever it is you taking the broom up and down, left and right, and then trying to throw it what's it called, a bulger leader in the golden snitch?
Oh, let's see if we can remember. There's the golden snitch. There's the quaffle, which I think is the equivalent of a football, and there's the other one that basically just murders people.
Bludger.
Yeah,
that's something the big angry ball,
now,
right?
I'm with you. It's like. Actually, it's one of them things to watch in the movies or to read in the books. It's awesome. But it's actually, if you stop and think about it, if you were to actually play Quidditch yourself, it's a pretty bad sport, actually. Because there's just too much stuff going on.
That's why it got banned in Hogwarts Legacy, because of that accident.
Yeah, well, it's just... Yeah, you've got, it's almost like two guys floating around the pitch looking for this lost little golden thing, while there's a game of football going on alongside at the same time. They
also have a pitch, but they don't use the grass because they don't touch the floor.
That's something to do with the crash.
Don't you get disqualified if you fall off or something? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But either way, if you think about the games, the esports games that do well, FIFA, Rocket League...
They're very well-defined sports.
There's well-defined takes on sports, or just real-life sports put into practice. Even Mario and Sonic at the Olympics is taking a real thing and put it into practice. I don't suspect this game translates to video games as well as it seems on paper. In theory, sounds great. Let's take a fantastic fictional sport that some people play in real life, I believe, so somehow walking around with a stick between the legs. But then taking it and putting it to a competitive video game... it's a tough ask. And I think there's a reason it was maybe kept out of Hogwarts Legacy, and it's probably because it might have dampened the overall appeal of the game if people are like, I get to play Quidditch, and it's shit. Great.
Yeah, and honestly, my first impressions when I saw the art style, I was like, this looks like a cheap-ass mobile game.
Yeah.
I hate that art style. I really do.
You just hate that Fortnite aesthetic, don't you?
It works for Fortnite, but for other things, it just feels like a cheap cash in. It's like it has no creativity. It just feels like flat and lifeless and just ugh. Like,
you know what I don't like about,
guys,
about the branding is adding Harry Potter to it. I feel like I get the books of Harry Potter and the etc. etc. I feel like the world has actually outgrown the character. Like Hogwarts Legacy was a great choice to name that game because it got away. Like people know what Hogwarts is.
People know what Quidditch is.
Yeah,
it doesn't need the Harry Potter.
Quidditch champions would be fine. But
this again, it makes me feel more this is like a mobile game. Because that's the sort of thing you would do in a mobile game. It's like, it's a Harry Potter game because people are going to search for Harry Potter in the App Store.
Yeah.
Like,
either way.
Yeah, I'm not
to Gryffindor.
I'm not excited by this game at all. It's not moving the needle for me. I'd like to see them come up with a decent Quidditch game, but it feels like it's going to be a AA at best. So cheap cash in. It feels like exactly everything I wouldn't want Warner Brothers to do. Where I think it's one of them. They would have been better off partnering with a team that actually has well-established esports titles.
So this doesn't tickle your quaffle.
It does not tickle my quaffle at all. But you know what might tickle people's quaffle, Chris? Dead Island 2. Would you like your quaffle tickled in Dead Island 2? That is one of the comments.
You can stay away from my quaffle.
So the reviews are coming out in Dead Island 2. And they're looking okay.
Yeah, Dead Island 2 has not been a game that's been on my radar. Although we do intend to have a first look up on the channel. The developers were kind enough to send us a code for PlayStation 5. So my intention is to have a look at playing that. Of course, Dead Island 2, a long time in development. A lot of people wrote this off. It swapped developers, I want to say 3 times. Actually, Sumo Digital were working on it at one point, and they made Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which I was talking about on Talking the PS. And I think a lot of people thought it took so long to come out, it can't possibly be that good. And yet, you know what? It's coming out to good reviews, and people are saying, you know what? It scratches an itch. My quaffle is tickled by this game. And I'm going to do a first look. I'm going to jump into it. Of course, it's Deep Silver Dam Busters, so it's finally settled back at Dam Buster Studios, based in Nottingham. Shout out to Nottingham in the UK. And I'm looking forward to it. Just something a little bit different. It's not something I've played in a while. I did play the original Dead Island back in the day, and it bugs me to this day that I've got 1% trophy completion on it because it crashed on me about 2-3 hours in, and it was one of those crashes that pissed me off so much I just put the game down and never went back to it.
You know what? As much as I think PlayStation's implementation of achievements trophies is better than Xbox's, what bugs me is I've got the Platinum on Final Fantasy 15. I don't know any of the DLC. Take a guess what my trophy completion rate is.
34.8%.
You're not that far off. It's about 50. Damn. I have the Platinum. I have completed everything that game has to offer that was available with the game that didn't cost more money. I only have 50% completion. That's just a shit implementation in my point of view. But yeah, Dead Island 2, one thing I do like to mention when it comes to this game is, yes, it's been in development for almost a decade, but halfway through they basically scrapped everything they did and started again fresh.
They did.
So I like to think of this as there's effectively 2 Dead Island 2s. One of them will never see the light of day. So it's more like a 5-year development cycle rather than a 10-year one.
Yeah,
I think it is important. Well, this is probably why it's coming out actually looks decent. It's not actually been in development hell, realistically.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's not been in development hell. The last attempt at making a Dead Island 2 was in development hell. So they scrapped it and started again. And then they produced a seemingly decent game. Maybe largely 7s and 8s across the board for the most part.
Yeah, solid. It's what you want. And like I said, I'm looking forward to checking it out and enjoying it. And nice little interesting fact, Richie, both you and me, and possibly Rob as well, we've been to Dambuster Studios. Didn't go in, but we walked past it on a night out one time.
Oh, yeah, we have, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it on Google Maps. I'm like, I remember that building.
I was going to say, is this something that we went a school trip as a kid that I've just blanked on?
No. We were probably half-baked on the way to another pub, and we walked past it. We're like,
drunk.
Oh, Dambuster Studios. I recognise. Those guys do great work. So looking forward to it, and you'll have my first impressions whenever I get time.
Let's just round things up now, I think. THQ Nordic have a showcase incoming on the 11th of August. So do you think this will be part of Summer Games Fest, Chris?
Yes, I really do. I think it makes complete sense in that regard.
Do they have a choice? Will Jeff Keighley just say it is and then have to just go with it?
Quite possibly. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's anything around that time, Jeff Keighley's probably just going to embrace it anyway, whether you want to or not. He's just going to put a tweet out that says it's part of our show, and he does a great job of it.
Indeed.
Dambuster's part of THQ as well. Yeah.
Is there anything particularly you're looking forward to seeing from THQ this summer?
Time Splitters. God damn it. It's been so many years, and they acquired the IP, or they already had the IP, but they rebuilt Free Radical Studios from the ashes to make this game, and we've not heard a peep. And the world is set for a Time Splitters reboot, remaster, reimagining. Hell, give me a Battle Royale at this point, because Time Splitters kind of already had that back in the day. And the characters, the whimsy, it's a great game, and give me it.
I think,
but that's it. Other than that, I don't really care for the SpongeBob games. All of the other little interstitial things, destroy all humans and stuff, doesn't really do that much for me. However, Time Splitters, you got me.
I don't. There's one thing I do want to see of, because they are apparently working on the South Park game, which I'm definitely interested in seeing something about that.
Yeah, they teased it with like those random little pixel images, and that was it.
But the main thing I want to see is a game that makes me look at THQ Nordic as a publisher, as developers ready to step into the big making AAA games, to stand up alongside the third-party AAA developers like your Square Enix, like your Ubisofts. At the moment, like your Activision Blizzards.
They've only really got what Darksiders, I'd say, is probably arguably their biggest, like, in terms of quality IP, and maybe Biomutant was their biggest push into top quality. But aside from that, they have a lot of titles that
have a lot of stuff. Not everything they have to do needs to be like big AAA, but I want them to see them come out with their version of like an Assassin's Creed. What is an Assassin's Creed like caliber game by THQ Nordic?
Absolutely.
Show me something that gets me... Basically, just show me something that gets me excited. Rather than going, that looks fine.
Yeah. It's when you look around at other games made from, like, brand new studios and smaller studios, and, like, Plague Tale, Innocence Requiem, smaller thing, absolutely smashed out of the park. Stray, Kena awesome. Bridge of Spirits. These are all games from studios that are so tiny, and yet THQ, with all their money and the power, SpongeBob's probably their biggest IP.
Yeah, but
and that's
SpongeBob, I don't think
Nickelodeon. So
it's not an IP that you really want. I'm looking at going, this is going to be our Assassin's Creed. This is going to be our Far Cry. This is going to be our Final Fantasy.
Well, yeah.
It's going to sell well. SpongeBob's got that, but it's going to sell well to a younger audience, not a mass market. Like, I want to see a game that makes me go, okay, I'm interested. I'm excited to see more of this in the coming years. Let's really give me something to be excited about.
I agree. So hopefully
either that, stuff. Or just announce that everything you're making is coming to Game Pass, because this is XPass. So that'd be awesome as well.
Give us Time Splitters.
Yeah, give us Time Splitters. But with that, that's all we have time for this week. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice. We're ending because Chris has ran out of beer. We have a Discord server down below in the links in the description, so you can join the conversation. Let us know in our Discord server, on the comments of the video, if you're watching on YouTube, what would you like to see from THQ Nordic? What is it the thing that is going to get you excited by a THQ Nordic game? Thank you very much for watching. My name's been Richie.
Go tickle your quaffle.
Go tickle your quaffle indeed. Goodbye.
I've been Chris.
You can go to work now.